Hello, I have moved into the front room and I have a wire connection to the internet now. I found a long Ethernet cable and I've weaved it around the hallway and where the modem is and through a few doors and some wizardry, and it's mostly hidden, so that's so good. So I'm going to try uploading more videos with the face cam. I know, do people like it, do they not, it doesn't matter. You can communicate more with it by being expressive, body language, etc. Not emotional manipulation or persuasion, etc. It's difficult to do that if you're not actually with the person in front of them. And most people who will see this won't be fooled by things like that. But I just figured just something different. I wanted to respond to Argent Senpai's video. Everyone should respond to Argent's videos. He needs to get more views. He needs to get more subscribers. He needs to get a bigger channel. He does really good stuff. You should subscribe to him. He also does write for us at West Coast Reactionaries. His video is about counter signaling. Sorry, and basically the emergence of people within a small community such as ours on the internet here, the propensity of such individuals to counter signal and to say, "Oh, I don't think what you think," in this kind of closed space, right? So special snowflake Evola retards like me like to kind of say, you know, I'm not a nationalist, I'm not this, I'm not that, this is what I believe, as opposed to just kind of leaving it. This is, I don't know, it's an interesting kind of phenomenon psychologically. I think everyone does this to a degree, especially we on the right-wing people. You know, we're using this term as a archetype, not, we won't get into political philosophy of whether left or right even matters. We'll just use this blanket term, right wing, to, you know, as a person type, and it kind of does tie into people, what they're like individually. But people who could be perceived as right wing are, by their very nature, individualistic, stubborn, somewhat egotistical, and they don't like to bend for others. This is where you get the counter signaling. And people like me saying, "Oh, I'm not like that," and other people saying, "Oh, I'm not like him," and all this sort of good stuff. Yeah, most of it is just trite nonsense, just kind of us babbling in an echo chamber. But that's the community. Like, that's the social aspect of this thing. I'm not making videos. Most people who are doing this sort of stuff, writing videos, etc., aren't just doing it to educate to the plebs their wonderful worldview. It's a social exercise. We're communicating with our friends. I was a comment earlier. Someone said, "People venerate me." If you venerate me, you should be fucking slapped in the face. To be very honest, that's fucking retarded. You know, I don't like the idea of people having fans. That's fucking retarded as well. I want friends and comrades, if you like, if you want to be a bit larpy. But it's all in good fun and it's all in good spirits. The reason you have all this counter signaling and signaling kind of intra-community signaling, instead of trying to project outwards all the time, is because you have the interplay of friendships and relationships, and you have these tight-knit social groups communicating via the internet with its own grammar and its own language and its own vernacular, etc., and its own etiquette, communicating in a closed space in a tight-knit way. And social signaling is just one of the various things people do to have a reason to talk to each other, have a reason to make a video, listen to a video, stimulate discussion. If you're an intellectual type and you like to just think for thinking's sake and ask questions for asking questions' sake, as many people do, I'm not really like that, even though me saying that being special. But it generates discussion. We're being open and friendly and cordial with each other, laying all of our hands bare and saying, "This is what I think, what do you think?" That's all it is. It's just social interplay. Politics and trying to convince anyone of anything doesn't come into it, really. By come into it as an afterthought. But generally speaking, people just want to make friends. And people, I think, especially in the alt-right and its kind of more extreme edges, that word, I mean edges, sides, yeah, you know what I mean, geometrics. But the more kind of hardline, radical, edgy portion of the alt-right, people like me who read a lot of silly things which most ordinary people have no idea about, we aren't very many. There aren't many of us, and so you want to engage with people and talk with people who are like-minded and who will get you and you will get them, because you don't get it in real life. And you get this with people who are pretty conservative in some places. People who've gone through the liberal establishment, the education system, etc., who all of a sudden think mass immigration is a silly idea, and all of a sudden they are alone, all of their peers don't like them anymore, and you get this sort of thing. So I think the social aspect of these sorts of communities on the internet, it can't be overlooked. We're out to entertain and inform as much as we are out to make friends and allies, and not just allies in the political sense, but companions. One-on-one human interaction of genuine depth, not your standard kind of prog, kind of bourgeois, materialistic friendships and acquaintances and going out and getting drunk and all this kind of hollow bullshit, but actual genuine friendships and relationships with people. My webcam is fucking going out of focus because it doesn't autofocus because I'm too poor to afford one that does autofocus. Fucking just kill me. I'm really hyperactive right now, in case you didn't notice. This is why I was swearing so much in my last video earlier this evening. It just happens sometimes, I'm afraid. I don't care. But yeah, this is what I wanted to say about that. As an explainer, these things happen because people are trying to make friends and interact with each other on more than just a political basis. Counter-signalling, I think, is fine, as long as it's kept impersonal. This is why I'm happy to say, and bleat on and on about, I'm not a nationalist this, I'm not a nationalist that, but I'm not going to say, yeah, the Richard Spencer's a retard because he wrote this and this and this. Richard Spencer, you're a fucking moron. You should do what I do. You should think what I think and write what I write. That, when it becomes kind of direct like that, that's when it does become a waste of fucking time, because you can't control what someone else on the internet does. Like, that's a basic fact. Earlier this year. Earlier this year, you had loads of drama and silly things emerging in the community, and I said all this there. You can't control what everyone does. I can't go to Renegade and force Kyle and so on and so on to stop being silly. I think they're wrong on almost everything, but that's fine. It's the internet. I can't control what they do. All I can do is write and do my own thing, and hope and pray that more people come to me than come to them. Or, there's that sort of dialogue there. It's a community. You give your 2 cents to the community, and what happens is what happens. You can't control what everyone does. It's fine to counter-signal on an ideological basis, because you are just refining your own ideology, thought process, mind, intellect. There's nothing wrong with that. Sharing these things, that's what we're all here partly for, is to become more intelligent, hopefully. Yeah, maybe educate ourselves, hopefully. Bit hit and miss sometimes, but that's part of the fun. So again, just to repeat myself, counter-signaling, perfectly natural. When, however, you do counter-signal against individuals, and when it becomes direct, that's when it just becomes kind of silly, because you're just bitching about someone else. I've done it a few times. Mostly it's half joking, right? But just me babbling on. If I made a video about millennial woes, about why he's wrong about something, I'm better off just fucking messaging him on Skype. Like, instead of making a video and telling the whole community, this is what I think. Yeah, you should listen to me. That's fucking bullshit. But I will make a video saying why I'm not a nationalist, because the subject itself is interesting, because then you actually get into political theory, philosophy, so on and so forth, and you kill many birds with one stone. If you're feeling, particularly murderous. I'll shut the fuck up. Thank you for listening.